Today's episode is brought to you by DeSanto Propane. DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane. Today we continue our series previewing local elections across the region by catching up with one of the candidates running for mayor in Auburn. Tim Lattimore joins me via Zoom. Tim, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Josh, for having us.
So first question, why are you running?
Well, let me say that I'm a stakeholder in Auburn. I was raised here and raised my kids here. I was on the planning board for 10 years. I was a counselor. I was a mayor. I was a legislator for 12. Presently, I'm the Civil Service Commissioner in the county. So I don't like the direction that Auburn's going in, and I love Auburn. I mean, I'm a cheerleader. I want to see upstate New York do better. I mean, I'm tired of the brain drain. Our kids, we educate them. Between Clarkston, Rochester, Syracuse, and Cornell, we got the diamond. We've educate the world, and then we lose them to some other state. I mean, it's amazing how sometimes I'll be putting a project together, and all of a sudden I'm talking to a Central New York kid who went to Lansing and then Cornell, and then ended up in the microchip business. It's amazing how Central New York kids are well thought of.
What are you hearing from voters as you campaign here? What are the biggest issues that people are bringing to your attention? Well,
I think Auburn's housing stock, as I run for public office and I go down the side streets, and I see the deterioration in the housing stock. We need to have, a better code enforcement. We need to have a housing commission. We need to have these vampire slumlords from out of state who come in and buy up these properties and then just suck the lifeblood out of them. I mean, this is our town, and I love it, and I can't stand by and say, "Oh, this is okay." Hopefully the next generation we can improve it. Now, I was involved with different projects. Steel mills, bottle plants, bun factories. In my planning days, we did senior citizen housing like Stryker, Boyle, and Schwartz. Those are keystones. We had student housing downtown with Lattimore Hall. So some of the cornerstones are there, but we've got to fill in some of the blanks.
Is that a central piece of the economic development plan, would you say, moving forward, getting the housing situation sorted out over the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, you can't have, I work on the west side of the town. I'm in the insurance business. Looking out my window, I saw a drug operation for 10 years. Finally, some young man got killed, and they finally shut it down. We got to shut down these places a lot sooner than 10 years. And our home ownership rate is like 42 to 46%, and normally it should be nationally it's around 66%. We've got to change those ratios.
Does that mean putting a cap on the number of rental properties over time, or coming up with some other solution to that?
Some other solution. I mean, I like duplexes where starter homes. It's a free market, but I like the fact that, somebody in the household has a stake in having the property maintained and look good,
Yeah. Senior housing, it's an issue everywhere in Central New York and the Finger Lakes region as a whole. Is that something that's popping up quite a bit as you campaign?
Well, I mean, I was on the planning board when we did Elaine Estates, which was handicapped people. We just did Brogan Manor and Malone Village. Did an excellent job with bringing those back. I mean, those properties were built back in the 50s, and they just upgraded them. So low-income housing is pretty good. It's the middle class that we've got to improve on. And I think a housing commission would be an excellent start where every stakeholder has a position on the board so that, it's not lopsided. But we need some visionaries. We had a couple brothers, Nino and Matteo Bartolotta, come up from New York City, and they turned around. Let's say Wegmans Piano Factory back in the 30s was here. I can remember as mayor driving down to Albany and getting them $1 million from New York State Restore New York money to bring that, another corner up the grade so that the rest of the neighborhood improves.
Yeah.
Young people shouldn't rent forever. You know what I mean? It would be nice if they had a share of the neighborhood.
For sure.
When you have a drug dealer on the corner, it's like cancer. It spreads all the way down the block. It deteriorates the whole neighborhood.
I'm glad you brought that up, because public safety and kind of this question that we see pretty regularly is, what can the city do to make me feel safer? There are, I feel like, a pretty good chunk of the population, unfortunately, who feels like no matter where they live, that communities are becoming less safe. What do you think the city can do to enhance its public safety?
We spend a lot of money on public safety in the city budget. Presently, our fire department has 70 full-time guys, and our police department only has 63. So we need some more people on the block. I'd like to see more. Let's say on a Friday night, we only have 4 police officers, and we got 15 firemen. So somehow we got to balance that out a little better.
EMS is another one where folks feel like the service is robust and widely available, but at the same time, there's concern about how you actually maintain that moving forward in a cost-effective manner. EMS, is that something on your radar in terms of needing to be mindful of?
The city took it upon themselves to go into a full-time ambulance service, and I think that the city manager might have jumped a little too quickly. We had absolutely no cost. In fact, the ambulance service was paying us as a city to operate, and that ambulance. I've studied this thing when I was a councilman and a mayor, and talked to other cities, and it's very expensive. It might be necessary, but we should have gone to a hybrid situation where we were, if the present independent vendor was having problems financially upgrading their equipment, whatever, we should have given them a couple $100,000 to keep them operating versus millions of dollars with a full-time situation. I think we're doing pretty good. AMR might leave the county, but I think we need to have free market competition is a good thing.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Whether we're talking about HABs, invasive species, tourism, or economic development, they all touch the region's lakes, quality of life, and most importantly, environment. How would you like to see City Council approach these issues? Any particular policies in mind?
Well, the city is always, the only product the city sells is water, and lake quality issues. They've been going around and around for like 7-8 years and what form should we have? But the city should protect the lake. We always had that right, and the quality of the water is ours. Everybody that I work with in the private sector, I'm in the insurance business. Any manufacturer of a product, the water quality is, or their product quality is always, very good because they have people on the line checking. And we should have had maybe more watershed inspectors or what have you. But now we got a problem. Skinny Atlas, which is a little deeper than we are, and they've always had, 4 or 5 different inspectors on the lake. And I think that we need to do more of that, preventative versus, putting more chemicals in the water or adding charcoal filters, which very expensive. So hopefully we can do better going forward.
Infrastructure. How would you grade the city's infrastructure, and what do you think it should be on the horizon over the next 5 to 10 years in terms of what needs to be focused on?
Well, I mean, hopefully we're going to build for growth. I mean, I just got off the phone this morning with somebody who was very interested in doing a hydrogen plant for us. Hydrogen, I think, is going to be the next energy thing. I mean, you just noticed that New York State Gas and Electric just went up with their rates. People are having a hard time paying their bills. You know, we have HEAP, which is the people who can afford help the people who can't afford to pay their heat and light bill. So we need to have more investment in upstate New York. I mean, they've got the lead water pipes in the power lines. With the storm damage that we've had, maybe when we tear up a street, maybe we should put an underground system in for the power and light. So that, right now, I think NYSEG, with this last rate increase, said that they had to take down, 250,000 poles because they were rotten. So hopefully if they, instead of putting up new poles, maybe we should bury some of this electric power.
You talk about infrastructure, you talk about public safety, you talk about fire and EMS, all these different things, housing too, building for growth. How do you keep taxes low in that whole process? What's your vision there?
Well, I mean, I was just at the Cayuga Milk Ingredients the other day. They're doing an expansion at their plant. I mean, when I was on the county board, we put in the Cayuga Milk Plant, which is a modern plant. They're going to put another $180 million into that plant. So you expect that 60% of your base is going to increase. We've got bottle plants and bun factories and steel mills, but we've got to increase that taxable industrial base. That's where the jobs are. That's where, you got to put money in people's pockets and then they can pay their taxes. The number one issue is we have to have some sunshine in the city hall. Right now, the front doors are locked. They locked down for COVID, but we got to open up those doors. And I want to see the finances. Last night I was on at city council asking again, every house has a credit card. I think ours is about 200 million. And I think we're about 190 million into it. So I couldn't really get an answer from our city council as to where we are with our credit lines. But I'm going to be a full-time mayor. My opponent is, working. He's younger. I'm going to get on the road and try to bring it back industry. I mean, we have 1/20th of the world's fresh water. I think that Syracuse was very, very fortunate with their commander over there getting Micron to come over. But I mean, what attracted them was, we got 1/20th of the world's fresh water. We got to take advantage of that. No, there's no other place in the world that has that kind of resource.
All right, Tim, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for taking it this morning.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this edition of FLX Today. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this one, check out the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.